I need help for I'm numb.
Right.
I'm numb. Think about this shit. I'm the only, like one of the only ones out here still. I gotta carry this shit on my back.
You the only one left. There's a picture going down around the internet with all the OTF members and just dead in jail. How you feel about that? You the only one left.
That's my brother. Like blood couldn't even make us close, 5 words. And the moment Duty Low said them on camera, the moment he looked into that lens and said that about Lil Durk, he did something that no prosecutor could have done for him. He humanized the loyalty. He verified the connection. He put on record for the entire internet to see exactly how deep the bond between him and the man sitting in a federal detention center in Los Angeles actually goes. Duty Low just sat down for one of the most revealing interviews anyone connected to Lil Durk's world has done since the arrest. An hour-long conversation where he talked about King Von, about the night Von died, about being on the phone right before everything changed, about what Durk told him from behind bars, about how he feels watching everything unfold from the outside while the person he calls his brother waits for a trial that could take the rest of his life away. And here's the thing about what Duty Low said that most people watching this interview are going to completely miss. He was not just talking, he was testifying, not in a courtroom, not under oath, but in front of a camera on a podcast that the entire hip-hop world and anyone who wants to research the network around Lil Durk can pull up and watch right now. Every word about the loyalty, every word about the music, every word about what he knows and what he does not know. It is all out there now, public, documented, searchable. This is Spalor. And by the end of this breakdown, you are going to understand exactly what Duty Low revealed in that interview, what he said about Lil Durk's case, the music evidence, and the night King Von died, and why every single word of it matters more than he probably realized when he said it. Let us get into all of it. Here is the detail from that interview that landed heaviest, and the one that most people scrolled past without fully processing. Duty Low is sitting in that chair, and the interviewer asks him the straightforward question, do you consider you and Durk family? And he says, that's my brother. Like blood couldn't even make us close, right? I just got off the phone with him. Not I talked to him last week. Not I heard from him through someone. He had just gotten off the phone with Lil Durk, a man sitting in federal detention in Los Angeles facing murder for hire charges that carry potential life sentences right before walking into this interview. That is the level of access and connection Duty Low has to this case in real time. And everything he said after that was being said by a man who had literally just finished a call with the defendant. When the interviewer pressed him on what that conversation was like, what Durk's state of mind is from behind bars, Duty Low kept it controlled. He said he does not talk to Durk about the legal situation directly, that when they speak, he tries to lift Durk's spirit, that he tells him he cannot wait until he comes home because this is just the beginning for real. That is loyalty talking. That is a man choosing carefully what he says publicly about a case that is actively ongoing. And that choice, that discipline, is something Duty Low navigated carefully throughout the entire interview. But discipline has limits. And across 90 minutes of conversation, certain things came out that deserve to be examined closely. But first, understand what kind of interview this actually was, because the setting and the context matter as much as the words themselves. This was not a controlled press junket with a publicist in the room. This was not a statement being read off a prepared script. This was a long-form podcast-style interview where the host spent real money to get Duty Low in the room. He said it himself multiple times on camera. He paid. He came prepared. And he asked questions that covered everything from childhood trauma to King Von's final hours to what Durk's team is doing right now 6 months before trial. Duty Low showed up knowing exactly what he was walking into. He showed up with his black painted nails, which he says deflect negative energy. He showed up calm and deliberate, and he showed up having just finished a phone call with a man the federal government has been building a case against for over a year. That is the frame. And everything that follows inside that frame deserves to be read with that context fully in mind. Before we break down what Duty Low said about the case and the music and the night Von died, you need to understand exactly who he is and why his words carry the weight they carry. Duty Low grew up in Calumet City on the south side of Chicago. He describes his upbringing as rough in the way that is not hyperbole, it is just geography and circumstance. He grew up behind what he called the bricks. Him, his mother, his little brother, and his sister. His first pet was a roach he found and put in a jar before his sister killed it. He played football until he could not play anymore. He got shot in his leg. He got stabbed 13 times by his baby mama when he was 17 years old and went to jail immediately after. Warrant waiting, still bleeding. He had 3 kids by the time he was 16 or 17 years old. He moved to Phoenix to get money. He hustled, he ground, and somewhere in that process he found his way into music and into the orbit of Lil Durk. The mutual connection came through a shared best friend from St. Louis. That is how the introduction happened. And what came out of it was not just a business relationship or a music collaboration. It was the kind of friendship that Duty Low describes as blood could not make closer. He was in every video, next to Durk constantly. Close enough that the interviewer says directly that he could feel Durk's energy just from being around Duty Low. They spent 30 consecutive days in a studio mansion together, chefs bringing food and people recording around the clock. Duty Low says some of their best music came from that stretch. He learned his work ethic from watching Durk sleep in studios and walk out with the birds chirping at sunrise, and the friendship extended beyond music into the most personal territory. Durk is one of the only people Duty Low says he talked to about his emotions. When he was struggling with lean addiction, Durk put him in rehab, not suggested it, put him there. When he came out, Duty Low learned about the stock market from a woman in that rehab facility and says it changed how he thinks about money. This is the depth of the relationship that Duty Low sat down and described on camera. And that depth is exactly why every single thing he said in that interview matters as much as it does. Here is where the interview goes somewhere that requires very careful attention. The interviewer asks Duty Low about the night King Von was killed. And what came out of that conversation is one of the most significant things anyone from Durk's circle has said publicly since November 6, 2020. Duty Low says he was at Von's album release party that night. He was there with Von. He was with him right before Von went to the club where the shooting happened. And he says something that landed in a specific way. He thought Von was going home after the album release. He did not know Von was going to another club. And he says directly that if he had known, he would have been right there with him. Then he says something even more specific. He says he was on the phone in those final moments. He describes the energy of that call. He talks about moments right before somebody passes, how the energy of a call can feel a certain way. He says neither of them wanted to get off the phone. The way he describes it, 2 people who felt something they could not name staying on that line together. And then he says the thing that hit hardest in the entire interview. After Von died, he started drinking pint after pint after pint. He did not want to be around anybody. He says it was a tough one. And then he goes quiet in a way that tells you more than the words do. But here is the question the interviewer pushed on that Duty Low answered in a way nobody fully processed. The interviewer asks, "Did you wish you was there that night?" And Duty Low says, "Yeah, I wish I was there because I know for a fact I'm riding." And another thing, God probably went one more time. Yeah, I think I was just with him. He said God probably went one more time, meaning he believes God kept him from being there. That if he had been there, he would have been involved in whatever happened. He knows it about himself. That is a man speaking his truth. And that truth, spoken freely on camera, is now part of the public record of what people connected to that circle were doing and thinking and experiencing on the night King Von was killed. Now here is the part of this interview that matters most for understanding where Lil Durk's federal case actually stands. Because Duty Low went somewhere in this conversation that nobody expected him to go. The interviewer brings up Durk's music being used as evidence. And Duty Low responds with something that is simultaneously a defense of his brother and the most revealing statement in the entire interview. He makes the Denzel Washington argument. His words not a paraphrase. He says Denzel Washington, Training Day, he's killing everybody in that movie. What would they do? Use that against him if he went to court. It is art. I am a creative. I am creating something. How are you going to make that into real life? The Denzel Washington analogy. He makes it clearly, spontaneously, without being coached or prompted. He argues that rap lyrics are the same category as an actor playing a murderer on screen, and that using those lyrics as evidence against a real person for real charges treats art as confession. And that argument, the art versus confession argument, is one that attorneys across the country have been making in courtrooms for years. Several states have now passed legislation specifically limiting how prosecutors can use rap lyrics as evidence in criminal trials because of exactly this concern. Then Duty Low says something that confirms he has been paying very close attention to the specific details of Durk's case. He says, and Durk's lawyers proved that a lot of that music was old. Some music is new, how it go? Old music, new music. He knows about the distinction the defense has been making. He knows that the prosecution tried to use certain lyrics and the defense pushed back with timeline evidence. Production dates witness declarations from producers proving certain songs were recorded before certain events allegedly occurred. He knows this because he talks to Durk, because he is inside this circle. Because when a man's freedoms are on the line, his closest people track every detail of what is being used against him. And then Duty Low says, I heard that Durk was trying to go to trial early and the government was trying to push it back. They like, no. And Durk like, I'm trying to go. Let's go. Let's go. Get this over with. Durk wants to go to trial. Durk's team has been pushing for the earliest possible start date. The government has been the one requesting more time. That is the public record. And Duty Low just confirmed it from the perspective of someone who speaks to Durk directly. Step back and look at the full picture of what Duty Low put into the universe by sitting down for this conversation. Because there are layers here that go beyond any single quote or any single reveal. The interviewer asked him directly about the claims circulating online that people connected to Durk's situation are cooperating with the government. And Duty Low shuts it down with a specific word. He says he has seen Pooh Shiesty's paperwork. He says Pooh is not what people are claiming. He says real killers do not talk about what they have done. That statement, I done seen Pisty paperwork, is the kind of thing that people in this culture say when they are vouching for someone's character and their record. It means he has personally reviewed documentation that he believes clears Pooh of the cooperation accusations being floated online. Whether that paperwork is what he thinks it is or whether it clears Pooh of what the internet is claiming, that is a separate question. But what matters is that Duty Low said it publicly, clearly. On camera, he also addresses the claims about Vaughn, specifically the situation around Timothy Leaks and the confusion over whose bullet actually caused Vaughn's death. Authorities have indicated through forensic investigation that the fatal shot may have come from law enforcement rather than from Leaks directly. And Duty Low says clearly, real killers do not talk about what they done did, so I don't respect it. He is talking about the people who have been claiming credit for Vaughn's death online. He is drawing a line between what he believes happened and what he believes is being performed for attention, and he draws that line without wavering. He also addresses something the interviewer raised about people connected to Durk now being targeted because of Durk's absence. He confirms that since Durk has been locked up, the people around him are getting attention they would not otherwise be receiving. People are going after anyone connected to OTF because Durk is not there to be the center of that pressure himself. Duty Low acknowledges it, and he handles it the way he handles most things in this interview, quietly but without backing down. He also talks about what it feels like to be one of the last ones standing from his circle. He says he is numb. He says he has got to carry this on his back. He says there is a picture circulating on the internet showing all the members of their crew who are either dead or in jail, and he is the one sitting in that interview, still free, still making music, still trying to build. That weight is not performance. That weight is the real accumulated cost of the life he has lived and the people he has watched go. He also talks about the nature of the federal investigation in a way that shows he understands it. He says the Fed's investigation is a long investigation. They didn't just start with her. He says Durk was seeing things in the industry that were real, in his music and in his awareness of what was surrounding him. He defends the music not as confession but as therapeutic expression. As someone processing loss and trauma through art, as someone who lost people and made music about that grief. He also introduces himself as someone who introduced Durk and Pooh Shiesty. He says they were all in the same studio during COVID, Big 30 and Shy in one room, Durk in another. He made that introduction. He vouched for that connection. He was the bridge between those worlds. That context matters, because the government's case against Durk involves co-defendants who are now facing federal kidnapping charges. And the man who made the introduction that connected some of those people is now sitting in a public interview talking about all of it on camera. Duty Low is not doing anything wrong by sitting for this interview. He is speaking his truth. He is defending his brother. He is representing where he comes from and the people he loves. That is what loyalty looks like in practice. But loyalty expressed publicly in the age of documented digital media is a different thing from loyalty kept private. Every word is searchable. Every clip is archivable. Every statement about who was where on what night is part of a permanent record that exists independent of anyone's intentions. Here is where this all lands as the trial date of August 20th, 2026 approaches. Duty Low confirmed several things in this interview that are now part of the public record around Lil Durk's case. He confirmed the closeness of his relationship with Durk. deep enough that he had just gotten off the phone with him before sitting down for the interview. He confirmed that Durk is in contact with people from his circle and that those conversations involve mutual encouragement and the shared belief that Durk will come home. He confirmed his presence at King Von's album release party on the night Von was killed. He confirmed his emotional state in the aftermath. He confirmed that he wishes he had been at the club that night and that he believes God intervened to keep him away from whatever happened there. He confirmed that he is aware of the music evidence battle in Durk's case, specifically that the defense has been arguing successfully that certain songs were recorded before the events they allegedly reference. He confirmed that Durk's team has been pushing for an early trial date and that the government has been the one seeking more time. And he delivered the Denzel Washington argument for why rap lyrics should be treated as art rather than confession, an argument that is not just his personal opinion but is the central legal and cultural battle that this case represents for hip-hop as a whole. Now here's the thing about that argument that needs to be said clearly. The Denzel Washington analogy is emotionally compelling. It is culturally resonant, and versions of it have worked in courtrooms. There have been cases where a defense team successfully argued that a rapper's lyrics are no more admissible as evidence of real intent than an actor's film roles would be. But the flip side is equally real. Federal prosecutors know that analogy, they have heard it, and they have spent months preparing arguments for why the specific lyrics in this specific case are different from creative expression, why they should be read not as artistic performance but as documented evidence of real planning, real intent, and real action. The judge has already ruled that the Who Wants Smoke remix lyrics can come in. That ruling is on record. The defense challenged it and the judge allowed it anyway, which means the Denzel Washington argument, while philosophically sound, did not fully persuade this particular judge on this particular piece of evidence. What it may do is persuade a jury. That is a different audience with different standards. And the way a defense attorney presents that argument to 12 people in a Los Angeles courtroom in August 2026, using exactly the kind of common sense framing that Duty Low delivered casually in a podcast interview, that is where the battle is actually going to be decided on. There is also the matter of what Duty Low revealed about himself in this interview that goes beyond the Durk case specifically. He talked about being shot and robbed. He talked about being stabbed 13 times by his baby mama at 17 years old. He talked about going to rehab at Durk's urging. He talked about his own music career and an album that he says is coming soon. He is building something. He is trying to establish himself as an artist independent of his proximity to Durk, while also making clear that the loyalty to Durk is unconditional and will never waver regardless of what happens in that courtroom in August. That is a complicated position to be in publicly, and the grace with which Duty Low navigated it, talking freely about his own life and his own journey while keeping Durk's legal situation carefully contained, shows a level of discipline and awareness that does not always come through in these kinds of interviews. He also talked about the emotional intelligence argument in a way that tied the whole interview together at the end. He said he believes that everything that has happened, every situation Durk and everyone around him has been through, comes back to the lack of emotional control and emotional intelligence that nobody in the streets is ever taught. The inability to step back from a moment, the inability to let disrespect slide, the inability to see that the fight you are fighting today will still be there tomorrow with new consequences attached. And he said that he learned through losing Von, through watching Durk go away, through going through his own personal battles with addiction and violence, that being an observer of life rather than a reactor is the only way to survive it with something intact. Everything is just experience, he said. You go to jail, you get out. What was it? Just experience. Your girl cheats, you get heartbroken, you get another one, you get happy. What was it? Just experience. You broke, you get rich. What was it? Just experience. That philosophy, coming from a man who has been shot, robbed, stabbed, addicted, and has watched his closest people die and disappear, is not motivational poster wisdom. It is hard-won understanding delivered by someone who paid for it in the most personal possible currency. The three questions that this interview raises going forward are these. Does anything Duty Low said in this interview create complications for either the defense or the prosecution as they prepare for August 20th? Because public statements from people close to defendants are exactly the kind of material that legal teams on both sides track, analyze, and sometimes subpoena. What does it mean that the person who introduced Durk to Pooh Shiesty, who is now facing federal kidnapping charges alongside 7 others, is publicly on record describing that introduction and that relationship in detail? The studio session during COVID, Big 30 in one room, Shy in another, Durk in his own room, Duty Low making the connection. All of that is now documented in a public interview. And what does Duty Low's interview tell you about the emotional weight that the people around Lil Durk are carrying right now as August 20th approaches? He said it without anyone prompting him. He is numb. He is carrying this on his back. He is one of the only ones still standing from that circle. Everyone around him is either gone or locked up, and he is sitting in an interview talking about all of it, about Vaughn and about Durk and about what loyalty means when the people you love are absent in the most permanent and the most temporary ways possible. That weight is real. That grief is real. That loyalty is real. And every word of it is now on camera forever. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think Duty Low said too much in this interview, or did he handle it the right way? What do you think the Denzel Washington music evidence argument means for how Durk's trial actually plays out? And what does it tell you about this case that the people closest to Durk are still speaking this openly 6 months before the trial starts? This is Spilor. Subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. Every development in the Lil Durk federal case from now until August 20th and beyond. Full breakdown the same night it happens. You do not want to find out from someone else. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.